After more than 100 cruises, I thought I'd seen it all. Every deck, every trick, every hidden perk. But one evening, over dinner with a senior crew member, I heard something that completely changed the way I look at life on board. He leaned in and told me a story about how two crew members doing the exact same job, same hours, same uniform, were being paid completely different salaries simply because they came from different countries. That single revelation sent me down a rabbit hole I never expected. Over the months that followed, I spoke with crew members off the record, dug through official cruise line policy pages, and even contacted ex-staff who'd left the industry, all to uncover what really happens behind those staff-only doors we never get to see. And what I found was eye-opening. So today, I'm revealing 20 cruise crew secrets that cruise lines would rather keep below deck, the things that will forever change how you see every smiling crew member you meet on your next voyage. Some of these might surprise you. Others might shock you, but all of them will make you appreciate just how much happens behind the scenes to make your vacation feel effortless. Stick around till the end because the final few will make you appreciate the crew in a whole new way. Let's start with the one revelation that started it all. Number 20, unequal pay by nationality. Here's where it all started, the secret that opened my eyes. Two crew members working side by side, wearing the same uniform, doing the exact same job. Yet they're not paid the same. On many cruise lines, pay isn't based on skill or position, it's based on where the crew member comes from. A worker from the United States might earn 2 or even 3 times more than a crew member from the Philippines or India, even though they do identical work and share the same responsibilities. When I first heard this from a senior officer, I thought it couldn't be true. But after speaking privately with several crew members, they all confirmed it. Some even showed me old pay slips that proved the difference. Cruise lines say this system is tied to local wage standards, but to many crew, it feels unfair, especially when they all live on the same ship, work the same long hours, and keep the same passengers happy. This was the moment I realized how much goes on below deck that we passengers never see. And it made me start digging even deeper. And what I found next was even more surprising. Many of those smiling faces we meet on board don't actually work for the cruise line at all. Number 19, commission-driven roles. Here's the surprising part most passengers never realize. Not everyone on a cruise ship actually works for the cruise line. Many of the people we see every day, like the spa staff, the art auction hosts, the shop assistants, even the photographers, are hired by outside companies. These are third-party businesses that rent space on the ship and pay their workers mostly through commission. That's why you'll often notice how eager they are to sell. Every massage upgrade, photo package, or jewelry means extra money for them. It's not pushy behavior, it's survival. Some crew members told me their base pay is so low that commission is the only way to make a living wage. The cruise line allows this setup because it cuts their costs and shifts responsibility away from them, even stating in contracts that they're not responsible for those employees. So the next time you see a friendly crew member offering a spa deal or photo package, remember that they're not just trying to make a sale, they're trying to make their paycheck.
Number 18, recruitment agencies and job scams. What I learned next was even more eye-opening. Most cruise lines don't hire their crew directly. Instead, they work through local recruitment agencies based in different countries. These agencies handle interviews, paperwork, and background checks before sending workers to the ships. On paper, this sounds organized, but it's also opened the door to serious scams. There are fake agencies online pretending to hire for major cruise lines. They send out official-looking emails, job offers, even fake contracts, and then ask for things like uniform deposits, training fees, or sign-on charges. Once the money is sent, the scammers disappear. Real crew members told me they've seen friends lose hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars this way. The truth is, legitimate cruise lines never charge you to apply or to start working. Every real cruise company has an official careers or jobs link at the bottom of their website, and that's the only safe way in. It's a tough lesson many future crew learn the hard way, long before they ever step on board. Number 17, pay stops between contracts. Now here's something most passengers never think about. What happens when a crew member's contract ends? After months of working 7 days a week, many crew finally get to go home for a short break. But what I discovered is that during this time off, they're not actually being paid. Once they step off the ship, their salary stops completely until they start their next contract. So even though it's called vacation, it's really unpaid time away from work. Some crew members told me they use these few weeks to rest, while others pick up side jobs at home just to make ends meet. Most are invited back for another contract, but nothing is guaranteed. It's a strange mix of relief and uncertainty. After months of hard work, they finally get to see family, but they also have to budget carefully because that break comes with no income at all. Number 16. Long, grueling contracts and no days off. If you've ever felt tired after a long work week, imagine working for months without a single day off. That's the reality for most cruise ship crew members. While senior officers like the captain or cruise director usually have shorter contracts of 3 to 4 months, the majority of crew, from cabin stewards to chefs, bartenders, and waiters, work contracts that last anywhere from 6 to 9 months straight. And during that time, there are no weekends, no holidays, and no real breaks. They work 7 days a week, often 10 to 12 hours a day, every single day. When I asked why, crew told me there are 3 main reasons. First, cruise lines save money by not hiring extra people to cover shifts. Second, there simply isn't enough space on board to house additional workers. And third, most crew are hired for one specific role. They're not trained to switch positions or fill in elsewhere. So if someone takes a day off, no one can replace them. One crew member explained that it's tough, but you get used to it. You stop counting days and just focus on finishing your contract. Some say they find small moments to rest between shifts, maybe a quick nap, a meal with friends, or a few minutes on the crew deck looking out at the sea. It's an exhausting lifestyle, but also one filled with discipline, teamwork, and sacrifice, all to make sure every passenger enjoys a perfect vacation. Number 15. Early contract end can cost them everything. Here's a rule that really surprised me. If a crew member wants to end their contract early for personal reasons, they have to pay their own way home. That means buying their own plane ticket, covering all travel costs, and sometimes even paying fees for leaving before their contract is finished. The only exceptions are when it's due to a family emergency, a medical issue, or if the cruise line itself needs them to disembark, like when a ship suddenly goes into dry dock for repairs. Several crew members told me this policy can be tough, especially for those who are far from home. Imagine working halfway around the world, thousands of miles from your family, and something serious happens, but you can't afford the trip back. In those cases, the company will sometimes help, but it depends on the situation. For most, quitting early just isn't an option. So even when they're homesick, exhausted, or struggling, many choose to stay and finish their contract. It's not just about duty, it's about protecting the little savings they've worked so hard to earn. That level of commitment is something most passengers never see, yet it's what keeps every cruise running smoothly day after day.
Number 14. The 90-day probation rule. Another thing I discovered is that not every new crew member automatically becomes part of the team for good. Every cruise line has what's called a probation period, usually lasting the first 90 days of their contract. During this time, their managers carefully observe how they work, how they behave with guests, and whether they can handle the pressures of ship life. It's a kind of trial run, and for many, it's the most stressful part of their first contract. Crew told me that a single mistake or poor attitude can mean being sent home before the contract is finished. The cruise line will pay their way back, but it often means they won't be rehired again. One cabin steward told me she barely slept her first few weeks, constantly worried about doing something wrong. The pressure is real. You're living at your workplace, serving hundreds or even thousands of guests, and trying to prove you belong there. For those who make it past the 90 days, it's a huge relief. They know they've earned their spot and can finally relax a little. But for others, it's a reminder of how competitive and demanding life at sea truly is.
Number 13. Life below deck. The hidden crew world. Most passengers never see it, but deep below the shiny guest decks lies a completely different world, a place only the crew call home. It's known as the I-95, a long, hidden corridor that runs the entire length of the ship. This is where the crew live, eat, relax, and move around without ever being seen by passengers. Down there, you'll find small cabins packed with bunk beds, shared bathrooms, laundry rooms, a crew gym, a tiny bar, and even a recreation area where they gather for movie nights or karaoke. For many, this lower deck world is their home for most of the year. About 80 to 85% of crew members share rooms with 2, 3, or even 4 people, and privacy is almost non-existent. Only senior officers or department heads get their own private cabins. Some newer ships, like those from Virgin Voyages, are starting to change this by offering single crew rooms and better facilities. But for most, living below deck is a constant balance between hard work and close community life. Crew told me that despite the tight spaces and long hours, friendships formed there often last a lifetime. It's a hidden city within a city, one that keeps the entire cruise ship running while most passengers sleep peacefully just a few floors above. Number 12. Random drug and alcohol testing. Many passengers imagine that once the day's work is done, crew members head to their bar, relax, and party all night. And while the crew bar is a real place where they unwind, what most people don't know is that alcohol on board is very tightly controlled. Every major cruise line has a zero-tolerance policy for drugs and intoxication, and it's enforced through random testing. Crew members told me that at any time, without warning, they can be called in for a breathalyzer or drug test. It doesn't matter if they've been with the company for years or just started. Everyone is treated the same. One crew member even said the number one reason people get fired isn't poor performance, but failing a random alcohol test. The reason is simple: safety. Every person on the ship, from cabin staff to engineers, must be ready to respond in case of an emergency. Even one person under the influence could put lives at risk. Some departments, like the bridge team or those on watch duty, aren't allowed to drink at all within 4 hours of starting a shift. So while passengers might enjoy cocktails by the pool, the people serving them are held to incredibly strict rules, because behind the smiles and service, safety always comes first. Number 11. Crew have to pay for some of their own expenses. Here's something that really surprised me. Even though crew members live and work on the ship, not everything is covered for them. Before they even start their job, they have to pay for several important things themselves. That includes their passport, visas, required medical exams, and sometimes special vaccinations. Many cruise lines also require them to buy their own non-slip safety shoes before joining the ship. Once on board, most of their basic needs are covered, like meals, uniforms, and a cabin, but there are still extra costs that come straight out of their pocket. For example, Wi-Fi is usually not free for crew, and many told me it can be quite expensive compared to what they earn. Some lines, like Virgin Voyages, are the exception and give free internet, but that's still rare in the industry. Crew also pay small amounts for bottled water, toiletries, and snacks from the onboard crew shop. When you think about how far they've traveled and how hard they work, it's humbling to realize that even getting to the ship and staying connected with family comes with a cost. These are small expenses to us as passengers, but for the crew, they can take a big part of their earnings. And yet they keep smiling and doing their jobs with professionalism every single day.
Number 10. What the cruise line actually covers for the crew. After learning about all the costs crew members handle on their own, I also discovered there are a few important things the cruise line does take care of. For starters, the company usually pays for the crew's travel to and from the ship, whether that's a flight across the world or a short transfer between ports. Once on board, their cabin and food are fully provided. They eat in a crew-only dining area called the crew mess, which serves meals from different regions so everyone can find something familiar from home. Laundry service is also included, both for their uniforms and personal clothes, and medical care on board is covered if they get sick or injured while working. The medical team treats them free of charge, and the cruise line even covers hospital bills if someone has to be medically disembarked during a voyage. The only exception is for pre-existing health issues they had before joining. So while the job is tough and the pay can vary, cruise lines do make sure their crew are fed, housed, and cared for when it matters most. It's a small safety net in a demanding lifestyle, one that helps the crew keep going, shift after shift, often thousands of miles away from home.
Number 9. The crew's hidden economy on board.
Deep below the guest decks, the crew have their own little economy, almost like a small town with its own shops and systems. There's a place called the Crew Shop, a tiny convenience store that sells snacks, toiletries, drinks, and personal items at discounted prices. It's where most crew buy essentials like toothpaste, instant noodles, chocolates, or even cigarettes. But here's the catch. Everything they buy is deducted directly from their paycheck. For many crew, this small shop becomes a lifeline. Since they can't always go ashore in every port, the cruise shop is often the only place they can grab what they need between long shifts. Some ships also have special services that allow crew to send money home straight from the ship, a quick way to support their families while at sea. It might sound simple, but this hidden economy helps keep morale up and daily life running. Every small purchase, every care package sent home is a reminder of the lives they're building beyond the ocean. It's a quiet, unseen part of ship life that connects thousands of crew members to their families waiting on the other side of the world. Number 8. The strict hierarchy on board. Every cruise ship runs like a small floating city. And just like any city, it has a very strict chain of command. From the captain at the top all the way down to the housekeeping and galley teams, every role is carefully ranked. This structure keeps the ship organized, but it also means crew members must always respect the hierarchy. They can't just walk up to a senior officer or skip their supervisor to report an issue. Everything goes through the proper channels. One crew member explained it this way: "The ship runs smoothly because everyone knows their place and their duty. It's not about ego, it's about safety and order." In an emergency, this structure becomes crucial. Everyone has a specific job and knows exactly who to report to. For new crew, this system can take time to get used to. Simple things like speaking casually with a higher-ranking officer or entering certain areas can be seen as breaking protocol. But once they adapt, most say it creates a sense of teamwork and respect that keeps such a massive operation running perfectly day and night.
Number 7. The crew's cultural world. One of the most beautiful things I discovered about life at sea is just how diverse the crew really are. On a single ship, you might find more than 60 nationalities working side by side: Filipinos, Indonesians, Indians, Italians, Romanians, South Africans, and so many more. For many, it's the first time they've worked with people from all around the world, and over time, this melting pot becomes one big floating family. Below deck, crew often celebrate their national holidays together. You'll see flags, food from home, and sometimes even traditional dances. The kitchen might serve Indian curry one night and Filipino adobo the next, just to make everyone feel a little closer to home. Crew members told me these moments mean everything after long shifts and months away from family. Of course, cultural differences can sometimes cause small misunderstandings, but most say it teaches patience, respect, and unity. They may come from different parts of the world, but once they step on board, they share the same goal: to keep the ship running and make sure every passenger has an unforgettable trip. It's a reminder that behind every perfect cruise experience is a team built on global teamwork and genuine human connection. Number 6. Crew work 7 days a week and still stay positive. One of the hardest realities of crew life is that there are no weekends or holidays, not even one day off for months at a time. Most passengers don't realize that the friendly waiter serving your breakfast might have already been working since 5 a.m., and the cabin steward who cleans your room could be finishing a 12-hour shift. Yet somehow they still greet everyone with a smile. Crew members work in rotating shifts to keep the ship running 24/7, from cooking thousands of meals to maintaining the engines deep below deck. And even though they're physically exhausted, many told me their energy comes from pride and teamwork. They know that keeping guests happy is what keeps the ship alive. Some crew said they treat every small break, like sitting by the crew deck for 10 minutes or calling home for a few seconds, as their personal vacation. It's a tough lifestyle, but it builds incredible resilience. So next time you see that warm smile or cheerful greeting, remember, behind it is someone who's been working non-stop, giving their best every single day to make your holiday perfect. Number 5. Crew rarely get to explore the ports.
When passengers think of working on a cruise ship, it sounds like a dream, sailing to exotic islands, visiting new countries, and waking up to a new view every morning. But the truth is, most crew members hardly ever get to enjoy the ports they visit. Their schedules are so packed with work that by the time the ship docks, they're usually still on duty. Some crew told me they might get an hour or two off if their shift ends early, but by then, most doors are closed or it's too far to go anywhere. Often, they just use that short break to grab Wi-Fi in the port area, video call their families, or quickly buy personal items before rushing back on board. On turnaround days, when new passengers are boarding, everyone is required to work nonstop, so short leave isn't even an option. A few departments like entertainment staff or senior officers might get more freedom, but for most, the world outside remains just a glimpse through a porthole. It's one of the biggest misconceptions about crew life. They travel across the globe, yet rarely get to truly see it.
Number 4. Crew internet is limited and closely monitored. In today's world, we can't imagine going even a few hours without checking our phones or messages. But for cruise ship crew, staying connected is a real challenge. Unlike passengers who can buy fast Wi-Fi packages, crew internet is often much slower, more expensive, and sometimes even restricted. Most ships use separate crew networks that prioritize passenger use first, meaning when guests are streaming or posting online, the crew's connection often becomes painfully slow. Many crew told me they have to plan their calls carefully, waiting until late at night or early in the morning when fewer people are online. Some save screenshots or short messages to send later when the signal improves. And on older ships, certain websites or social media platforms are even blocked to reduce bandwidth. It might sound like a small inconvenience, but for people spending 6 to 9 months away from home, limited internet means missing birthdays, family events, and daily contact with loved ones. Some say it's the hardest part of life at sea, being surrounded by people, yet still feeling disconnected from the world that truly matters. Number 3. The crew's hidden medical system. One thing most passengers never realize is that cruise ships have their own small medical world below deck, a fully equipped area just for the crew. Every crew member has access to the ship's doctor and medical team, but what I found interesting is how it all actually works. If someone gets sick or injured while working, the cruise line covers all medical care, including treatments, checkups, and even prescription medicine. However, if it's a pre-existing condition or something not related to their job, they might have to pay part of the cost themselves. If a crew member's condition becomes serious, they can be medically disembarked, meaning they're taken off the ship at the nearest port and transferred to a hospital, usually at the company's expense. It sounds simple, but for the crew, it's a stressful experience. Many worry about being sent home before finishing their contract, because that often means no pay until they're cleared to work again. Still, most crew I spoke to said the ship's medical staff treat them with care and respect, and that it's comforting to know help is always close, even when they're thousands of miles away from home. It's another reminder that beneath the fun and glamour, a cruise ship is also a floating workplace, one where safety and health quietly keep everything running. Number 2. Hidden promotions. Here's a secret most passengers never know. Not all promotions on a cruise ship are announced or visible. In fact, many crew members quietly work their way up through the ranks without anyone realizing it. Promotions often happen behind the scenes, based on work ethic, discipline, and recommendations from department heads, not just years of experience. For example, a bar waiter who starts cleaning glasses in the background might be promoted to bartender after just one contract if they show the right attitude and reliability. A cabin steward who learns extra tasks or helps train new staff might be offered a supervisor position the next season. These promotions don't come with big celebrations or public recognition, but for the crew, they mean everything. Better pay, better cabins, and sometimes shorter contracts. One officer told me, "Every smile, every guest we help, it all gets noticed, even when it doesn't look like it." That's the unspoken truth of ship life. Hard work rarely goes unseen. It's a quiet ladder built on effort and attitude, not titles. So, while passengers enjoy their cruise, many of the crew are also chasing their dreams, building a career at sea, one small step at a time. And that's what truly keeps every cruise ship alive. Thousands of people working hard below deck, turning silent dedication into smooth sailing for the rest of us.
Number 1. The cruise silent emergency rolls. Here's one more secret that most passengers have no idea about. Every single crew member, no matter what their job is, has an assigned emergency role on the ship. Even the people who serve food, clean cabins, or perform on stage are trained in emergency procedures. They know exactly where to go, what to do, and who to report to if something ever goes wrong. Before every sailing, the entire crew goes through safety drills that most guests never see. These are detailed rehearsals for real emergencies like fires, evacuations, or medical incidents. Some crew are assigned to guide passengers to muster stations, others handle lifeboats or help with first aid. Even entertainment staff or shop workers have serious duties when alarms sound. One crew member told me, "We hope we never have to use this training, but we're ready if we do." It's part of why cruise ships are so safe. Everyone on board, from top to bottom, knows how to react instantly. So the next time you're on a cruise and hear a routine safety announcement, remember, behind the scenes, hundreds of trained crew are quietly prepared to protect you, even if it means putting themselves at risk first. And there you have it, 20 powerful secrets about life at sea that most passengers never get to see. Behind every perfect vacation, every freshly made bed, and every friendly smile, there's a world of dedication, sacrifice, and quiet teamwork happening below deck. These men and women work around the clock, far from their families, to make sure your cruise feels effortless and unforgettable. So the next time you're on board, take a moment to look beyond the luxury and appreciate the people who truly make it all possible. A simple smile, a kind word, or even a small thank you can mean more than you'll ever know. If this video helped you see the crew in a new light, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more real cruise stories the industry doesn't often share. And don't stop here. My next video dives into the untold truths of what really happens on a cruise ship after midnight. You won't want to miss that one. Click over and watch it next. Your view of cruising will never be the same again.